breaking news in the Bronx. This is Bronx Fan Central.
Yankees fans, we need to talk about what's happening with this team. Look, I know spring training games don't count in the standings. I know that. But what I'm seeing during spring training is giving me a feeling in my stomach that I just can't ignore. Because one thing is having two aces out while they recover. That happens. We can handle that. Gerrit Cole and Carlos Rodon will be back. We all know that. The problem is what's happening while they're not here. Two of our starters are performing at a level that, man, if this carries into the regular season, we're going to have a serious problem on our hands. And it's not just one bad number, it's a pattern. It's repetition. It's the kind of thing you can't just pretend you didn't see. Max Fried looks good. Will Warren looks good. Cam Schlittler honestly surprised me a lot, by the way. But then you look at the other two, and the math just doesn't add up. Stay with me here because I'm going to show you exactly what's happening with the New York Yankees rotation, and why this could define how we start this season. The Yankees' starting rotation is generating real concern during spring training. This isn't exaggeration, and it's not anxious fan panic. The numbers are right there, and they tell a story we need to face head-on before the regular season arrives and the situation gets out of control. Two of the 5 projected starters for the beginning of the season are struggling seriously, and this is happening at a moment when the team is already operating without Gerrit Cole and Carlos Rodon in the rotation. In practice, the Yankees are trying to stand upright on 3 legs while waiting for the 2 veterans to return. Let's talk numbers, because they matter here. Max Fried, Will Warren, and Cam Schlittler are performing within expectations. Warren leads the team in innings pitched with 16 1/3. Schlittler had a scare early on, but he bounced back well in his last 2 outings and now holds the lowest ERA in the rotation, 1.50. Fried sits at 3.86, below the team's overall average. Those 3 are doing their jobs. The problem has a name, Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers. Gil has 17 strikeouts, the highest total on the team, which is positive. But his ERA is 6.28, almost double the team average of 3.99. Weathers is in an even worse situation, an ERA of 8.68 in fewer innings pitched. If he keeps that pace, he'll hit double digits before he even approaches Gil's workload. This isn't just one bad day. It's not one misplaced pitch. It's a pattern that repeats every time those 2 take the mound. And here's the point that worries me more than any individual number. Cole and Rodon will come back. Everyone knows that. The expectation is that both will return at an important moment of the season and reinforce a rotation that, on paper, is very competitive. But there's an unspoken condition in that plan that many people ignore. The team needs to be in a reasonable position when they arrive. If the New York Yankees enter April with Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers bleeding runs every outing, it won't matter how much Max Fried and Will Warren hold things together. The team will accumulate losses, lose ground in the division, and create unnecessary pressure on Gerrit Cole and Carlos Rodon the moment they step on the mound for the first time in the regular season. A starting rotation is the backbone of any baseball team. When 2 of the 5 links are breaking every time they're tested, the entire structure becomes compromised. If you follow the Yankees every day, you know how this works. We tend to downplay spring training. It doesn't count. It's just adjustments. Wait until the season starts. And that's fair. Sometimes that's exactly what it is. But you also know how to recognize the difference between a pitcher finding his rhythm and a pitcher who clearly has something out of place. Luis Gil with a 6.28 ERA is not just a spring training adjustment. Ryan Weathers with 8.68 and recurring control issues isn't just a small sample size. These are warning signs that the Yankees coaching staff needs to take seriously now, not after the regular season begins and the damage has already been done. And look, I know you, just like me, want to believe it will get fixed. But hoping is different from ignoring what's right in front of you. The Yankees have Elmer Rodriguez and Carlos LaGrange available. Those are real options, but calling one of them up now, before the season even officially begins, would signal a level of desperation the organization clearly wants to avoid. The most likely scenario is that Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers keep getting chances. The logic is understandable. The sample size is still small. Spring training has a different context, and replacing a starter before April would be too drastic a decision at this stage. But there is a limit. If both pitchers reach opening day with these same numbers and without showing consistent improvement, the coaching staff will have to make a difficult decision. And the longer that decision takes, the more expensive it will become later. What makes this even more complicated is that Gill is not pitching poorly across the board. The 17 strikeouts show that the arm is working. The issue seems to be control, pitch sequencing, and the ability to escape pressure situations without allowing runs. It's a technical and mental problem at the same time, and that kind of thing doesn't get fixed overnight. Look, I'm going to be honest with you because that's what I do here. I'm not panicking, but my eyes are wide open because I follow this team every day, and I know there's a difference between reasonable concern and full-blown catastrophe, and what I'm seeing right now is right on the line between the two. What gives me some peace of mind is Max Fried, Will Warren, and Cam Schlidler. Those three are pitching well, and if the two struggling starters can stabilize their ERA to something acceptable before the season begins, the rotation works. It's not perfect, but it works. What really bothers me is the consistency of the mistakes. Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers didn't just have one bad day, they had several. And when I see a pattern repeating on the mound, I start wondering whether the problem will be solved with more spring training outings or whether it will carry straight into the official schedule. I want to be wrong, I really do. But ignoring this would be dishonest with you and with the team. At the end of the day, the New York Yankees are in a temporary transition moment. Everyone knows the rotation changes when Jarrett Cole and Carlos Rodon return. The real question is how much damage will be done before that happens. Max Fried, Will Warren, and Cam Schlidler can hold things together. Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers will decide the outcome. If the two find their rhythm, the Yankees enter the season with a rotation solid enough to compete until the veterans return. If they don't, the pressure on the rest of the roster will grow quickly, and the American League East is not going to wait for the team to figure things out. Bronx fans, what do you think about this situation? Do you believe Luis Gil and Ryan Weathers can turn this around before April, or do you think the New York Yankees will need to look for alternatives sooner than planned? Let me know in the comments. I read everything.